wrestling show on the big beefy boy Shaz Beef, and today I'm joined by the one Mark again.
Just me again, yeah.
Well, you have the charisma of at least 8 Marks.
Definitely Tate.
Yeah,
Not Morrow.
not Morrow. No, to be fair, Morrow is a handsome gentleman.
Yeah, we were talking about Oliver Reed just there before we started rolling.
Boom.
And Morrow reminds me a lot of Oliver Reed.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
I'd say he'd be a good Bill Sykes as well.
Bullseye.
Bill Sykes would be a good wrestling gimmick, actually. I'm surprised no one's really kind of done that. Well, maybe Big Bully Busick to an extent.
I'm trying to think now. I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, certainly not someone who went around with a little dog.
Oh, the Bulldogs.
Actually, you know, if Dynamite Kid had a real good Vincified solo run.
Yeah. He could have been Bill Sykes.
Yeah, give him a bit of a fucking busted top hat.
Rene Dupree had Fifi.
Yes, actually.
They're all dogs.
We have started the show strong.
Yes, we have. This is Johnny the Beast Mortos, and we're here to talk about Survivor Series time. Are we allowed to do that accent?
No. Do it in the Can's voice. Go on.
WarGames.
Is that what the Can sounds like?
I have never heard him speak. I don't look...
Survivor Series. That's
That's Triple H.
Yeah, this was trying, yeah.
We're here to talk about Survivor Series. Is the Survivor Series WarGames now? Is that what it's called?
That's what it has been for the last 3 years?
Yeah.
3 years. I guess it's a new gimmick for Survivor Series, much in the same way that the Elimination Chamber was originally intended.
Survivor Series in itself is the gimmick.
It should be. But what they've done over the years, a la the Deadly Games tournament, the Elimination Chamber, they've tried to find new methods of survival.
Yeah.
Which is grand. Like it's the second oldest WWE paper PLE?
Play.
Player, not as it used to be.
Player.
But of the classic Big Four, it was the second one. So I think this was the 38th edition, maybe.
Wow.
So they're I could be completely wrong on that, but they have tried to kind of, because Vince somewhere around 1993, Vince decided that he hated 5-on-5
multi-man matches,
which everyone loved, and genuinely, I can say this as a fan who was bed into that since I was a kid, could not get enough of them.
No, I had the one Silvervision tape. Remember Silvervision?
Yeah.
I had Survivor Series 1989. I had a blue top on it.
Oh.
And I used to just religiously watch the Survivor Series 89 card.
Yeah, I used to go down to, I think it was Hennessy's videos down there in Cairn Street, and they had a little WWF section, but it was always the covers of the Survivor Series that had me bed into, and I really wanted to get them, because you're looking at
Hulk
you can
Hogan,
see the
Demolition,
team,
and Jake.
I'm I want to see this. That Warriors team that they did with Ultimate Warrior and Kerry Von Erich and Road Warriors, Legion of Doom. I looked at that and I was like, please let that be in my eyes right now.
Well, that's where Ultimate Warrior got his name from. We have the Road Warriors, you have the modern day Warrior. We need the ultimate. We're not allowed to do his voice. The Ultimate Warrior,
yeah, the Dingo Warrior.
The Dingo Warrior initially, yeah.
But it was so it was so cool as a kid just to see those combos of teams, and you're wondering how it's going to play out. And when you get those videos when you're a kid, you're just watching so many of them out of order. You're getting whatever's in the shop, and ideally rewound before you could watch them. But it was so cool to see. They did mix it up on. You're one of my favorite ones. I'm going to get this wrong, but I do think it was 1990 possibly, where they did the Ultimate Survivor match, where every survivor from every team combined for this final match, which I loved.
And was there uneven numbers?
Yeah, it ended up in uneven numbers, because all of Rick Martel's team, the Visionaries, survived, and then I think Ted DiBiase joined them, and then they took on Warrior, Hogan, and Tito Santana, who were the only survivors from their matches.
Tito Santana,
just a great bit of business. Apparently, Vince hated it on the night, and it was a nightmare. But
probably didn't like seeing somebody again. I remember about 89, Hogan's match was third on the card, and he was the champ.
Good.
And Warrior was headlined. Yeah. And Tully Blanchard never showed up. Or
got fired.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Heenan had to step in for Man, I rewatched the first one there recently, actually, ahead of this one. And some great stuff there, but which is, for...
Is Ken Patera in that?
Ken Patera is in the mix there, but the women's match is fucking brilliant. It's like a Sensational Sherry's team against... Whose team?
Probably Moonlight.
It was Moolah. Moolah was on it. It actually was Moolah's team. But she got eliminated pretty early, surprisingly, for Moolah, all fucking 62 years of her or whatever she is there. But just great action between like the jumping bomb angels, who were class, and Judy Martin and Lenani Kai, who are two like massively underrated women's wrestlers of the 80s that held together a lot of that very poorly booked women's card. But I was just looking at the interactions, particularly like I'd seen that Royal Rumble match between Jumping Bomb Angels and Martin and Kai as well. I was just like, all four of those women need to be in the Hall of Fame, because like mainstream US women's wrestling in the 80s was fucking barren. Yeah. And the four of them were, and their tag matches with each other were on the bright spots. But that was a really good, not just a good women's match, but it was the best Survivor Series match on that card.
I've seen a few people argue that like the Rock and Wrestling connection is like, we have women's wrestling to thank for that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, with the
like
Cyndi Lauper and Wendy Richter connection.
Like Hogan wasn't even. I mean, Hogan was an insane draw, but like at that time, particularly when that Rock and Wrestling connection really peaked, it was all down to Wendy Richter and Cyndi Lauper. Like that combo was.
That's the one that was on MTV. Yeah, I know Captain Lou was in the mix there as well.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and like that really captured the public's imagination, and that main evented that first. I think. Was it the first?
The Saturday Night Fight or no?
The brawl to settle the score. Yeah, it sounds weird because you're expecting like all.
Is it brawl to settle the score?
The brawl to settle it all. No, I think it's. I think it actually is the brawl to settle the score.
It was. I remember it anyway. I wasn't born, but I remember.
Somebody will correct us. But yeah, like I mean, I think this was potentially a very good segue for into the first match. But like watching the first Survivor Series and seeing this like amazing women's contest and just the joy of it, and then like going back to the general Survivor team, you know, like Vince has tried so many different things over the year, but like for whatever reason, he's always tried to kill the traditional 4-on-4 to 5-on-5.
Like even before a Survivor Series, they had was a Payback, and it was like a brand warfare. It was like 7v7. They're like, why are you doing multi-man matches when you have Survivor Series just after?
Just do Survivor Series. Yeah, like so. Like I guess WarGames is the latest addition to it. I think certainly when it came to the opening match, the opening WarGames match, the women's match, like that's the kind of match. Particularly after having watching that fantastic women's match at the first Survivor Series, I was just going, yeah, like this would just benefit so much more from having a simple little 5-on-5 here, a classic old school Survivor Series. You know,
do you think though having so many people eat the pin, like what happened with Gunther? Remember when he ate the pin from Drew McIntyre? That's
nothing to do with the match. That's Vince McMahon going, they seem pretty high on that big German fella.
Yeah,
let's squash him.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is,
by day I mean Triple H and Shawn Michaels,
especially in today's climate, having someone to eat a pin, or you always get your count out, whatever. But like having someone eat a pin in a match. Yeah. Is that not like the way fans think now? Go, oh, he's getting buried. Oh, that's so detrimental.
No, I don't think so. Because if you're pinned by the right person in the right situation, I think it's just down to good booking, and also like you know the match is like a Survivor Series tag. It's elimination style. It's supposed to be grueling, like the ways in which people can survive. I mean, and there's been great examples of it over the years.
When Shawn Michaels survived, was it for Stone Cold's job?
Oh yeah,
stand like 3 years. Oh man, that was amazing.
Yeah. When they build drama and stakes into it, it is any combination of this match, whether you put it in a fucking WarGames or not. It's a brilliant concept and one I always love, and it's been traditionally used so many times to get like a lot of new stars over, which it has.
The Rock '96, he debuted in a Survivor Series match.
Lucky, one of the weirdest and one of my favorite Survivor Series teams.
Madison Square Garden,
teaming up with Mark Marrow, Jake the Snake Roberts, who was way past his prime. And speaking of past his prime, Barry Windham rocking his stalker gimmick.
Class.
But you know, it was like two veterans and a kind of established but waning act in Mero. But like that really put The Rock over. Like Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler, to an extent, or other wrestlers who've really benefited from really strong Survivor Series showings over the years.
CM Punk when he was with the Hardy Boys in DX.
Yeah,
he was the most over.
He was the most over. That was one of my favourite Survivor Series teams.
Before the actual show and they did the countdown, they did top Survivor Series moments. CM Punk's return was number 2 from last year, which was a big moment.
What was number 1?
The Undertaker's debut. No?
I definitely would have preferred Sting's debut, but Undertaker's debut was grand.
Yeah.
But like it's like not not in the way it didn't mean anything because everyone's like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's coming out with brother love.
But looking back on it, the historical meaning.
That guy's just glad he's not in the fucking gobbledygooker egg. You know what I mean?
That was the Survivor Series where Hector Guerrero was the gobbledygooker.
In retrospect, you go, yeah, that was a really big and important moment. The Undertaker debuted.
But at the moment in time,
Sting was way better because you're like, it's fucking Sting.
Yeah. I don't want to go back to 89 too much, but at the start of it, when they were doing all the wrestler promos, that was class. Because it was all Thanksgiving, so they had to say what they were thankful for. And you had like Roddy Piper was going up against Rude Bruce.
Thankful for kicking your ass.
Yeah, it's like, I'm happy because I ain't Ricky Rude. And you're like, yes, Piper.
Oh, that's good.
What am I happy for? My polka dots, baby. That's dusty.
Look, good shit.
Yeah, I would have liked to. What they came up with for this Survivor Series was, I think, terrible. Where they were like Yeet University, and I was like
getting the catchphrases in.
And like CM Punk just didn't. Which is great.
Phone in, Phil.
But other Survivor Series moments, of course, how can you forget the ambulance match?
Kane Shane,
but the ambulance match the Buried Alive match with The Undertaker and Vince, where Kane, after doing the Shane thing, comes out to help Vince.
That was a good one.
That was
great. I mean, again, going back to like matches you can survive, like Vince was very, very fond of putting in like the first casket match with Survivor Series 92, the first year in which...
That was Kamala and Undertaker.
Yeah, and that was the first year,
Brett and Shawn had the WWF title match at that one.
A weird card. Warrior got fired a few weeks beforehand, but it was the first year where, like, even in 92, Vince was already sick of, in typical Vince fashion, was sick of a thing that he had introduced that everyone loved, that no one was sick of apart from Vince. And that was the first year where there was only one 8-man tag on that, and he was trying to phase it, but he was like, other matches other matches for survival, so that's why we got the first casket match between Undertaker and Kamala, and then he put the Buried Alive match. I don't think debuted there.
Was that Foley and Taker at 96?
At 96, Buried Alive. It was in Your House, I think, before that. Weirdly enough. But yeah, he does like to put those kind of matches, weird survival matches in there. Yeah. Just give us the tags.
Ambulance matches. And
give us the straight up, the 5-on-5, have the team captains, build it for a few weeks, have people survive.
Of course, the Invasion finished that Survivor Series.
It did, it got quashed.
Yeah.
Big old team of WWE guys against a big old team of WWE guys.
Survivor Series has brought some good moments, and I think we're going to talk about in another podcast, like your ultimate Survivor Series teams. Maybe.
I feel like I've let it away now when I said that team that had Barry Windham and Jake Roberts and Mark Merrow on it.
What about Dink and all the little dinks and...
When I was a kid, I kind of popped for the idea that like all the other dunks were the Bushwhackers, and who was it? Men on a Mission.
Yeah, was it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was objectively awful.
Was there not like a team of like Dunk with three small
there
dinks?
That was also another thing. And then Jerry
Lawler had the King's Quarter.
The King's Quarter, which is another like three little people, Queasy, Sleazy, and Easy or something like that.
You had the All-Americans against the Foreign Fanatics.
That's when Undertaker had his Stars and Stripes,
which he hated.
I looked cool at the time. Against the Foreign Fanatics, that was a pretty cool team.
The Montreal Screwjob. Like we can go back all over the history of it.
That was the Gang Wars coded Survivor Series as well. That's actually when they were most chock full of factions.
Yeah, because they had Los Pericos, DOA.
They had all. They had
the Kurgans one. What were they called?
Well, actually, no. At that point, they were the South African True Commission.
Yeah. With Don Callis,
Snappy guy with Don Callis, the Jackal.
Snappy dressers, as you were saying.
Snappy dressers.
But this is WarGames 2024. We've seen two previous iterations of WarGames on WWE, on Next even longer, but the opening match was the women's WarGames match. First of all, does the fact that there's two WarGames matches dilute it for you? And if so, why wouldn't the fact that there would have been many multi-man matches previously not dilute it?
I can't... I mean, I think maybe by that logic. I mean, that 5-on-5, that women's 5-on-5, if that had just happened as a 5-on-5, I think it would have been fine. I think we'd be looking at a good match that, a couple of people would have got over in and would have served them really well. did it like it wasn't like the women went into the WarGames and had a complete shit show and ruined WarGames for anyone. It's just that this match fundamentally felt like this doesn't need a WarGames.
Yeah, I mean, do you think having, say, if you have one WarGames per Survivor Series, that it can be split between, say, the men might have it 1 year, the women might have it 1 year, but a feud that is deserving of it?
Yeah, like this was just a bunch of like women who were kind of feuding with each other, teaming with other women who were kind of feuding with each other.
Why is Io and Bailey on the same team?
Yeah. Like,
did something happen there that we're missing?
Maybe. Write in, please. And
please let us know under the comments. As people have let us know about our Full Gear one.
Oh, wait, what did we fuck up?
Well, we said the champagne celebration. It was the fact that Mariah May couldn't hang out with Mina, and she wanted to celebrate with Mina, and she tried to celebrate before.
I've seen her promo since then. I don't know if that tallies.
Yeah, maybe not.
Know. Anyway, it's not very well told, and I don't think this is necessarily very well told either. It was a mad mesh of storylines. It just didn't need the WarGames. It would have been absolutely fine. I would have been so happy to see a 5-on-5 traditional 5-on-5 for the women, but.
Candice, it was good to see Candice in there, but at the same time,
she's a WarGames veteran at this point.
Did you see the tallies that they had up beforehand? And Rhea's side looked like they've participated in double the amount that the other side did. I was like, how many fucking WarGames has there been?
There's been a lot since NXT, and the women's WarGames matches have been great, and usually there's usually a good storyline reason for the teams to exist, and I think the men's do that exceptionally well, and the women's have mostly done that well. It's based on factions, and it's some alliances you need, but the focus of it is usually just being on particular factions, and this because all of the factions really aren't there, and it just felt a bit more cobbled together, and it definitely. There needs to be one driving purpose for both teams to go, yeah, we're going to get into the most dangerous match that exists in the company, at least.
Yeah.
And we're going to beat the absolute fucking tar out of each other for probably 38 minutes.
There's talks that Jade Cargill wasn't actually injured, and it kind of reeks of, remember the time they took Sabu out of the elimination chamber at December, and you're just like, well, no, I wanted to see that.
I had a visceral reaction to that memory
when Sabu did it.
I remember watching that pay-per-view live and being so excited about what was going wrong in my fucking brain. I was so excited about the first not just a one night stand, but an actual ECW pay-per-view that's happening under the WWE banner. Boy, was I wrong. Because they got rid of Sabu before the Elimination Chamber.
Putting Bob Holly.
He wasn't actually injured. It was a work because they just wanted to get Bob fucking Holly.
Sparky
in
Buck.
the year of our Lord 2006 into the Elimination Chamber. And we're looking at Sabu, the most innovative, violent performer of the entire 90s. And you're going, can we see him in an Elimination Chamber, please?
No.
No, says Vince McMahon. Here's Bob
Holly and Bobby Lashley.
And the Big Show.
And here's Sylvester Turkey in the show before. That was but that was saved, though, by the 4-way ladder match. And by saved, they started off well when Joey Mercury busted up in his face.
I don't think that. I think
was that not that?
No, that was at Armageddon, I think.
Maybe. But there was definitely a big
there was some manner of tag. Yeah, look, it was a fucking mess. This show was better than ECW.
Yeah, but what I was trying to say is I was looking forward to seeing Jade Cargill in a WarGames match. What do you think the reason is for taking her out of that?
She's either injured or it's a storyline.
Yeah, but the storyline, they must have a purpose for not putting her in. People are speculating that maybe it was Bailey who took her out, but she's just really after turning.
I don't
back
know.
To a face.
I don't know where it's going to mean. Jade could be injured. There was reports of that, but
Bianca,
there's nothing confirmed.
Did she take her out? But anyway, they all come out.
Yeah, that was it. All right, they all come out.
They all come out,
and that was it.
That was it.
That was another element that I was kind of on them all coming out.
Yeah,
the level of dress up.
Yeah,
that some of them, Rhea's mask. I call her Trinity. Naomi was wearing effectively it looked like an Eiffel Tower hat or something on her head. All those fucking Naomi was going to a fucking Christmas party. Rhea's still inexplicably going to a Halloween party. They were way too costumed up
for something like a WarGames.
Yeah, and I'm going to sound like some fucking basement dweller crone here, but Jesus Christ, surely like, you go to war in WarGames.
Yeah, you're a pair of jeans with the knee pads over the jeans.
Yeah, jeans, knee pads, like fucking, like your
fist.
Your fist taped up and like then doused in glue and then doused in glass. Like that's the shit you have to go in there with. And they were wearing the fanciest fucking shit.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I never thought of it though.
I just feel like, I mean,
same for the men's. Well, they're all kind of dressed in sweatpants anyway.
in some cases they have hardly any clothes on.
Yeah,
I know, but like, I think there is an extra level of war you want to have in that.
Kevin Owens would do it. Kevin Owens has done it.
He would. He
kind of does that.
He'd go as far as to wear a t-shirt.
Yeah, of Dusty Rhodes or of Bob Orton when he's fighting Randy and Cody.
But it's just like, I think that level of investment in, and maybe there is like, maybe WWE do want to kind of soften the war games, and maybe AEW's Blood and Guts is enough to have like the violent version of that particular type of cage match. I don't know what the fuck the thinking is behind it, but
Figures.
They've done such great work of like rehabilitating Hell in a Cell. WarGames is not so overexposed that it needs rehabilitation, but I think because of the nature of the match, it should just be about two different groups who have a feud. And on that note, I would have much rather see like this match be this kind of mess of a 5-on-5 for the women's WarGames. If that was just its own elimination tag, and then you just somehow find a way to get the Wyatt Six and Final Testament and Miz in there, and I think if you I think if you want to have women in the WarGames match, and like we're looking at this tally where it's like, you know, fucking Candice LeRae's been in 7 WarGames matches, and you're going like, actually, like maybe just give fucking Scarlett and Nikki a bit of shine in this kind of match, because they've actually got, the two of them have a way more interesting story than nearly everything.
You would think the Wyatt Six are perfect for something like that.
I'd love to have seen a mixed tag like WarGames match with those two fucking squads. We're already getting it next Monday on Raw. That feud had way more heat than any of the combos. Like, I mean, I know Liv and Rhea is still
the bloodline
a going concern. Well, no, excluding not the men's one. Sorry, I was talking about the women's one. But like, Rhea and Liv have their long running feud, but I don't think, like, with the combinations in this match and what seemed like very kind of tenuous storytelling going into it, like, it doesn't seem like it did. It wasn't like a final chapter in that feud or anything. It wasn't like any kind of major payoff.
Well, like Rhea's feuding with Raquel and Liv. Nia's pretty much feuding with Tiffany.
Nia had a shocker in there, didn't she?
Right. So
she's had a great year. She's had a great year, best year of her career. But like again, like that, I don't think that type of match maybe suited her.
I get why she was the first in.
Yeah,
because the advantage was for the baby faces.
Yeah, and I think they've done such a fantastic job in Nia this year that, like, I think for anyone to be going into the ring with her to start that match, it is a daunting prospect. Yeah. And that comes across really well.
And like Raquel, obviously she's an intimidating big figure, but she's only back. Candice LeRae is tiny. So like if two faces are beating,
all right, Shay, way to do her down.
But if
that tiny woman can't do shit in that fucking giant double-decker cage.
But like when, like if Candice LeRae is getting beaten by two faces, she's going to look sympathetic.
Yeah.
If same with Liv, she's tiny too. But Nia, it looks like when two faces are beating her up because she's a bully or whatever, it makes sense. Yeah. So the advantage has to be. But I think the concept of it, WarGames, watching the last two just gone, I think it's kind of boring because you're waiting. Like the match doesn't start, so there's no jeopardy for like 25 minutes.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
If you add it
if you're not going to get enjoyment from WarGames. But like,
it's not that I'm not getting enjoyment.
The joy of it is the stories that have been told when it's like 101 to 201.
Yeah.
And I understand that people are waiting for like, nothing's going to happen.
You're waiting for WarGames to begin. That's not even WarGames, man.
But you're just watching people, like, if you're clever about it, and I think like all the Blood and Guts matches have kind of been fantastic as well. Like, you're happy to wait because you're seeing good stuff. And stories are being told.
Maybe that's what I didn't feel like I was seeing great stuff.
I just don't think the drive of the stories was particularly good. And again, it just comes down to the randomness of the mixtures of people. There were some fantastic spots in it.
Everyone going down under the ring as they were coming out. Like, I'm going to get this, and I'm going to get this. And
I got to be honest, I really liked that, the show. And do you know what I really liked about it? Is that, like, most of the wrestlers didn't go to a place where there was weapons.
Yeah, they couldn't find them.
They couldn't find them. And I'm like, that makes perfect sense.
Because everyone's after taking them.
Everyone's after taking them, or else like it just makes it seem a little bit more real. And I'm going to presume it was on purpose. And their props actually weren't left in somewhere that they didn't have a fucking clue where they were. But there was some really nice touches with that as well. I liked that. That added to the realism of the thing.
I just found like coming down looking for. I missed the days when Raven used to have a shopping trolley, and he'd have all his stuff prepared because he knew he was going to war.
Yeah, I like that. It'd be hard to get that shopping trolley in through those doors, though.
Yeah, I know. I get that.
In fact, I go as far as to saying it would be
impossible.
Not quite impossible, but it would really
throw it over the top.
It'd slow the match down for a good 10 minutes. Yeah. Really like that Tiffany teasing the cash-in spot.
Who was she going to pin?
It was great because they did a similar thing with Damien Priest last year. The idea of, I mean, it makes sense. The idea that somebody would try and cash in a contract like that in what's,
does not nullify the WarGames match though.
No, I think it actually strengthens it because we've seen it teased twice 2 years in a row, and I think the idea that people would try and cash in WarGames because WarGames is the match where a particular champion will be so fucking
vulnerable,
depleted and vulnerable, and I think it actually
but does that end the WarGames match also?
No,
or is it a match within the match?
It's like a Russian doll vibe. It's like a match within the match.
Big bambushka doll.
I think it is it would be a match within the match, wouldn't it?
Fuck,
I don't know.
Like a championship scramble match.
Do
you remember those?
Where Brian Kendrick became
unofficially a WWE
champion for about 3 minutes, yeah. There was some good spots in it, like Io had her bin.
Yeah.
And I was just so happy to wait and see what she was going to do with that fucking bin.
She did a fucking moonsault.
She moonsaulted that bin off the top of the cage.
The fact, though, that they cut to a wide shot of it, when Tiffany did
missed Tiffany. I had to catch Tiffany's under replay.
Yeah,
she did a great job as well.
She did. No, it was cool, but like, should they have been done that in tandem?
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think what the logic was of that, but maybe they were just trying to one-up each other.
Yeah, but Io has a bin on her.
Yeah,
and she's backflipping into the ring with a bin. She can't see where she is. That is 100% going to be anything Tiffany does.
Maybe if Io died, that Tiffany doing one would have just been a good distraction, something to cut to. Maybe that was it. I don't know.
Oh, that's.
I mean, fair play to Io. Like, I mean, look, I'm never going to do a moonsault in my life. I think that can be established at this point.
Never give up your dreams, John.
My dream is not to do a moonsault, in fairness. I actually would love to do a moonsault. I don't know. Look, never say never.
I do a Vader salt. You know, we kind of half-ass moonsault.
Yeah, but you need to be his size. You need to be like a little baby bear. Okay. But to do a moonsault...
I'll do a Vader salt for you.
Would you do it with a bin over you?
Yeah.
If I used to rock out onto the street there now, grab one of Donny's wheelie bins and...
The Donny wheelie bins are different now, because they're...
You'd have to flap, but you could hit someone with the flap on the way over.
Do I have a height to dive off?
Yeah.
Onto people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Top of a cage.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
What I'm saying is it's a very daunting spot. Even more so if you probably have one of Donny's wheelie bins on top of you. Because they're actually quite big.
But like, and not being able to see.
Can't fucking see, and it's a big drop.
And you're backflipping.
Do you think she poked holes in the bin?
Just looking out, kind of fucking...
Just going straight to see where she's going.
How did she keep... She just, like... busted up her elbows to do it, or
I don't know. Look, we're just going to have to just agree on the fact that she's the best fucking one of the best wrestlers in the world. She's fucking amazing. She can do anything. Of course,
is that wrestling though?
What?
Flipping off a cage with a.
She can do other stuff, Shane.
I know. Yeah, she's class.
Yeah, no, she is. In fairness, and I do think she's probably the best women's wrestler that they have at the moment.
Bailey didn't really do much, did she?
Bailey made no impression apart from her hair. Her hair. She shaved something into the side of her head.
I said Ward.
That was it. I was like, oh shit. I've introduced this.
Good for
Absolutely nothing. I've introduced that into the conversation. And I was like, what was it? Was it her name? Bailey. And I was like, she couldn't get Survivor Series. No, War. Of course, it was War.
Yeah.
She made no impression in the match. Unfortunately, I don't know what's going on with her at the moment. Just a real person. I've been trying to. I've been trying to get calling him and texting.
I'd be like, Bailey, bring back the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Leaving her so many voice notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on really at the moment. Obviously,
I thought Candice was impressive in it.
Candice is great, and Candice seems to be getting a slightly more prominent role.
She's the speed champion.
Yeah.
She didn't bring out the title, though. Is that?
Yeah. If you don't, I was so impressed that when Bianca came out, she had the women's tag title because I was like, that's important. And she's representing that. And then Candice, not a chance.
No, because speed championship isn't important.
Is it like the 24/7 now? Is it just a bit?
Well, it's the Twitter 3-minute title championship.
It's like Triple H's version of the 24/7 title, where he knows he's bringing out a useless title, but he's at least trying to make it seem somewhat important.
on Twitter.
But yeah,
or X.
But yeah, champion should come out with it.
Yeah, Dragon Lee, he's
If
the
you
speed
have any
champion.
belts, just come. I hate that shit when champions don't come out with belts.
Yeah.
No matter what belt you have.
Just carry it.
Yeah.
If it's a pants belt, just come out with it.
Just your own.
You can whip someone with it.
Yeah.
Rhea ripping off the mask.
She shouldn't be wearing that mask in the first place.
It looked silly, didn't it?
It was just silly.
Absolute silliness. I think Rhea is getting to a cringe level now, where she's trying to be really cool. Like when she was in Judgment Day, that smarmy stuff came off really well.
Yeah.
But now when they had even the name, the Terror Twins.
I think she might have the old Adam Cole problem of not knowing how to be a face and not knowing how to just turn your heel character into your face character. Yeah, and she's like she should obviously to a degree be invulnerable because she's probably their kind of main babyface star now at the moment. But like, how much more venue? Like, okay, your dude left you for this other woman at work, and she's in the position you want to be in. And you should definitely try and destroy their lives. But like Rhea's done that now for a good 3 months.
Where does she go now though? Like into an Intercontinental, the Women's Intercontinental? Is she going to hold that?
She needs to heal her heart. She needs to get over that relationship with Dominic Mysterio.
You have Buddy Murphy.
She needs to focus on her maybe her main squeeze. I don't know how many guys she's gotten to go.
Yeah.
But you know, I think she needs to fix her heart.
Does she have a China problem in that? Remember when China won the women's title at WrestleMania 17? She bet Ivory, matter of seconds. You're like, who the fuck is going to beat China? Who's going to put up she was just wrestling for the Intercontinental title. I know Rhea hasn't done that as of yet, but like she just seems so far and beyond.
I think
Charlotte maybe.
If China had stuck around and if China had really kind of grown, like I don't mean negative on China because I have a lot of respect for China, but I don't think China took it as she was at a point where she took that as a step down.
Yeah.
And she treated it like a step down.
Because you had Lita coming after that.
China, like, that's the thing. If China had got won the women's title and been like, okay, I'm actually going to build a really good women's division around me. Like she would have, if she'd stuck around for another year or two there and been the linchpin of that division at that point.
Victoria was coming.
You would have had Victoria. You would have had Jazz. You could put her with fucking Jackie Moore.
Yeah.
Like you can
Trish.
You could put her with her with Trish, her with Lita. There's so many combos. Like Jesus, if China had a long enough run, if you get her to 2006, 2007, like imagine her against fucking Awesome Kong, Beth Phoenix. Like what could have been, but.
She showed up in TNA. I don't know who she went up against in that, but she did show up in TNA. But like, can you blame her that she looked down upon the WWE stuff? Because even at like say WrestleMania 19, you had the Miller Lite Catgirl fight, and you had Tori Wilson, and like for years we have the Diva Search. You have all that. Like it took a long time to make that division come across the series.
I hate to be negative about it as well because the fact that we even have a women's WarGames is fucking fantastic. I just think that they deserve to have something. I'm going to say it again, but I think they deserve to have something a little bit more cohesive, Shane. And I think that they deserve to have better stories told. If there was if their match had half of the storyline built or just detail work and nuance that the men's one had, it could have been an all-timer. And the problem isn't that there's...
It's hard to compare to the Bloodline stuff, though.
Yeah, it's hard to compare.
That's 4.5 years worth of storytelling.
You can give it a rattle. That's all I'm saying. I enjoyed the match mostly. I thought it was completely pointless. I do think it should have been some version of Final Test. Like, look, WarGames just needs one WarGames match. To be honest, my ideal WarGames card is like a WarGames main event at Survivor Series, and then like have 3 to 4 of the classic 5-on-5 tags.
Would you
two
like
women, 2 men's?
Would you like to see a cell version of WarGames like the olden days?
If you put a cell on top of WarGames,
that's what that's Blood and Guts.
Oh, well, no.
But that's the original WarGames.
Yeah.
Original WarGames is a cell.
What was that mad match that they did in like WCW in 1996?
Terror Dome, or they had...
Where like Hogan and Savage had to like face all of Kevin Sullivan's...
The Dungeon of Doom, yeah. It was 7v2.
Yeah, and had like, fucking Zeus came back, Tiny Lister, and
was it
Chief Swenson.
Was it 3 cages on top of each other?
Like 3 cages stacked on top of each other, but you start on the top and you work your way down.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that now.
It's a fucking mess. Anyway, sorry.
I don't like matches where you have to race, like the Boiler Room Brawl. Like they in 96 they had to... Well, no, that was SummerSlam. They had to race to the urn.
Yeah, that's kind of
Like, that's why didn't they just
still
start
a pretty
running?
good match, actually, to be fair.
Great
I don't
match,
know.
but like the actual premise of it
Yeah, I
is
get you.
like you have to run to the ring to win. But then again, you have to do that when you're climbing shit. You have to climb out the cage, but
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a
if
whole
you have to
different
do a
discussion.
running, always with the running.
Yeah, that's a whole different discussion. But yeah, the finish was good. Rhea, with her finish through a table, absolutely creasing Liv.
She finished her with that finish. Yeah. She didn't know there was some good action in it. Yeah, ultimately a little bit pointless, slightly diluting the I think the prestige of WarGames.
Sloppy as well with Nia.
Sloppy at times, yeah, definitely.
Especially
There was a couple of blown spots.
Yeah. Okay, so then we go on to the return of Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah,
He's going up against LA Knight.
Yeah.
I did not have any hope for Shinsuke anymore.
something in me was telling me he might win this.
When they started rattling off the record of like LA Knight going, he's been 119 days as a champion.
Anytime they mention the days as a champ, you know that someone might be in danger.
Yeah.
That's one of those tropes that is well established.
It's a trope in real life as well, because how many times have I been watching Man United and going, Luton haven't won in Old Trafford since 1919. Oh, well, they won today.
Yeah. I gotta say, I kind of loved this.
I was pleasantly surprised. I first was very apprehensive because they tried to do this with Shinsuke last year when they brought him back against Cody.
They did, but like, people were talking about that as if it was some kind of failure, and I feel like that was just they needed someone for
keep
Cody
hot.
originally. But what they've done here is like they didn't make Nakamura, like, he wasn't particularly hot going into that, but it was a way of reestablishing him as a different type of a threat. And then this new run that he's having now is kind of taking that to the next level, using similar kind of mind games as he tried to use on Cody. It's worked on LA Knight. LA Knight dropped the belt going into the ring. I actually thought that was a
Botch.
I thought it was a botch.
It looked good though.
It looked great, and they went with it.
Is it similar to the Gunther storyline that they were trying to work? He's not confident in
Yeah,
himself.
but also I feel like this stuff to me is just like this is delicious. After so many years of been starving, like that they would have storylines where, hey,
Two people are going through the
what if a
same.
guy gets kind of afraid of his opponent? It's like, yeah, let's get the psychological stuff, and I think Triple H is really good at mapping out psychological storylines like that. And he's got the patience for it that Tony Khan used to have. God bless him.
I was chatting to somebody the other day about a match that they had, and they included an intentional botch in it, and he goes,
I think that stuff is
just to
really,
keep people on their
keep them on their
toes.
keep them guessing. Yeah,
He did so, like, if fans were in the arena, or as in our case, we were in the stadium, and you're looking at him going, as smart Mark, you're like, oh, he messed up that. So there's that extra level of, but the other guy took advantage of it.
I think anything that kayfabe's for me is good. Anything for me as a viewer where I'm like, was that on purpose? Was that like, that's the sauce of wrestling in the modern era. You know, I know it's the whole like it gets termed neo kayfabe, but I love that there are elements like.
There's a world within the world within the world
Yeah,
within the world.
you know, that
like
there
a
is
match within a match.
A degree of like, we can be watching wrestling all this long, and they're still finding ways to make you go, was that supposed to happen? Was that real? Is that a real life thing? You know,
Did that not take you out of the story though?
no, it didn't. I think it told the story really well. Look, the match itself wasn't fantastic, but
What do you make of Shinsuke's new entrance?
I miss his old entrance, but I think
Because his music used to be banging, even the one with the lyrics in it.
they needed to do. Yeah, it was class, and the whole presentation was great. But unfortunately, it got too Vincified. Triple H has tried little things, but I think now
Maybe he was with Boogs. I'll never forgive him for that.
that's such Vince brain and Boogs. Like, in fairness, the two of them did the rest to make it work. But
Boogs
like,
came out shredding.
yeah, and then then he tore his
WrestleMania.
hamstring at WrestleMania, like, and that was a mess.
Never to be seen again, really.
Yeah, that was kind of the end of him. God bless him. He'll be shredding up in heaven.
R.I.P. Boogs.
I hope he's not actually
Yeah.
dead, but sure, look. But yeah, Shinsuke has not had a good run of usage. I think there need to be some major creative overhaul. I think
If this was Vince still booking, and they did that with Nakamura, where it's kind of like a Great Muta thing, but You know, he has the mist. He has the Japanese flag when he's coming out. Would people be up and there's that kind of like Japanese music in the background? Would people not be a bit up in arms going, oh, this is a stereotypical Japanese samurai guy?
I don't think so.
Because he wouldn't handle it with nuance, would he?
Triple H, I think, would. And I think...
Well, like, he's coming
Nakamura, I say Triple H would when it comes to like racial stereotype and literally the man who's done blackface.
Yeah.
But what I will say is I think that they're like... They want something distinctly Japanese, right? And I think that's what they're going to do. His whole gimmick isn't about being Japan. I think it's just leaning on his heritage a little bit.
But
more,
like the LWO got a bit of shit as well, to be fair.
I think this is more because that fucking show, what's it called? It's gone in my head. Is it Ronin? That's not Ronin. What's that? What was that big hit? What's that big hit TV show this year about all the I'm gonna fuck this. This is supposed to be my job.
Japanese samurais.
Yeah, what's the samurai show?
I don't know. Samurai Jack.
Oh man, no. Was there not some big show that was
about samurais?
What's about samurais?
I'd love to watch that.
Oh, fuck this now.
Is it The Last Samurai? With Tom Cruise?
Are you watching any telly fucking as much as I am? What the fuck? Anyway, there is a show that was really popular that came out this year. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's really good.
About samurais?
Yeah, I think it's about samurais.
Is it The Penguin?
I don't know. Japanese fucking monks. I don't know.
Japanese monk. What are you watching?
I don't know. I'm not watching it.
You're not watching it. That's why you don't know the name.
That's why I can't fucking talk about it. Anyway, look. It feels like Nakamura might be doing something that's a little bit more like Japanese mystic and leans into a degree of samurai shit. And obviously the mutanness of it all as well is there. I think it's actually a good role for him. I think the idea, like Triple H is looking at this going, oh yeah, like we need something for Nakamura. This show is really popular. Actually, I really like Nakamura until he was messed up. What do we do with fucking 2024 version of Nakamura? I think he did need a reboot, and I think one of the reasons why I was thinking going into this match that Nakamura was going to do it is because what you'll notice with Triple H in terms of his booking, it's a lovely thing he does, and I think he does it very well, and he's been doing it very well the last 2 years since he's had the reign. But obviously, like Triple H, he's a guy, but obviously he married Stephanie McMahon. He's got his eyes on the long game here, right? He's fucking Tom Wamsgams and that shit up. So he's like, I do think that in terms of...
Nakamura's a heel to beat.
No, it's actually more about NXT. I think every single NXT champion that is still under contract, I think Triple H has made sure to make sure that those guys have all been leveling up and they're all been hitting their potential. Because what he doesn't want to do is, like 10 years after like peak NXT was launched, he wants people looking back at his lineage of booking at NXT, and he wants to go, every one of those guys is a fucking star and every one of those guys got a run.
Finn, Gunther,
rehabilitate it. Well, he wasn't an NXT champ, but yeah, NXT.
Yeah, he was in NXT. DIY
still featured very heavily.
Owens and Sammy.
Owens. I think there were certain guys who became NXT champions, and Nakamura was one of them. To be fair, who was already the finished article. Samoa Joe was another one. Whereas you'd look at Samoa Joe's run when he got to the main roster, and you'd go, that was kind of disappointing. But Joe wasn't disappointing. Joe he elevated everything. He had a hot feud with fucking Lesnar. He had a fucking solid feud with Reigns. Joe just didn't get enough opportunities. Whereas Nakamura's really the only one.
Andrade?
Actually, I was going to come to this. Andrade's probably the closest to Nakamura in terms of going, both those guys were kind of disappointing when they hit the main roster.
Andrade fecked off. So.
He fecked off, and he has kind of like the problem. Andrade's problem is nothing to do with his, I think... Well, maybe it is, but I think he's got great presentation. He's fantastic in the ring, but he just, for whatever reason, that man cannot get over anywhere. He needs to do some kind of act with Charlotte, I think. When she comes back.
that is your thing.
But I think that could be the thing to elevate him. So anyway, what I'm saying is that a lot of these guys who are still there, the guys who even were completely fucked and buried, like the Bo Dallases and the Karrion Crosses, have all been very much rehabilitated.
Well, and B-Fab, she's even getting a bit of a run.
Well, she's not former men's NXT champion.
Oh, sorry.
but you know what I mean.
Bobby Roode.
Not necessarily everyone, but I think particularly when it comes to the champions of NXT, that Triple H has gone, right, I need that record needs to look fucking immaculate. Bo Dallas, yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
You think would he like to get Pac back then? Neville,
I think,
make him whole.
I think he would do it. I think he'd do a fantastic job with him at the moment. I'd love to see him back there at some point. As the bastard and without any of the fucking Vince brain booking.
Mighty Mouse.
Give him a little cape.
Yeah, a little cape.
But Nakamura, I think, is part of that rebuild. I think he's looking at Nakamura now and he's going, this dude is, 45 next year? He never quite hit he's had a good run. He's had probably the most...
He's been there a long time.
He's had the most successful run of any Japanese wrestler in WWE history, particularly when you look at it in terms of his accolades.
Yeah.
And
Pat Tanaka.
Apart from Pat Tanaka.
He was in the Orient Express, right?
He was, yeah. And he's actually American, it turns out. And so
I know,
was, and the other lad was Polish, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Thomas Bora Kato. I think so, but maybe Polish American. Anyway, I think
that's how they treated Japanese people in the early 90s WWF.
I think Nakamura doesn't have a lot of legs on him. I think they've started up this relationship with Pro Wrestling Noah, and they're trying to like be a little bit more Japan friendly, which they obviously weren't, because that's why Okada didn't fucking go near them. That's why a lot of guys don't go near them.
Kushida, his time in WWE wasn't
not great. Same with Kenta. So I think I think there's a couple of those reasons are feeding into this kind of new version of Nakamura, and I think also they want to maximize the investment that they've put in him as well. I think Nakamura having a productive run now, maybe up until WrestleMania, where he drops that title to
babyface,
to a Carmelo Hayes, or it could be back to an LA Knight.
Yeah.
I think LA Knight could maybe.
That's what I wanted to ask you: is LA Knight the next like? Is this one of these when he loses the mid-card title because he steps up to the main event scene?
Now, look, this could still be part of a storyline where Nakamura holds it for a fucking month and LA Knight gets back for WrestleMania season. I don't know, but
at the Rumble,
I think again another guy who, like Nakamura, who's in their 40s, who they want to maximize their investment out of as soon as possible.
I'd like to see him be a heel going up against Cody.
LA Knight, yeah. I don't know if he'd stay heel too long in that situation. Like, if they don't fully pull the trigger on him in the next year, he's going to be in a situation where I think he's going to flatline a bit, and they're going to have to turn him heel to get him to a main event level, at least for a while. But I can't see him being in the main event going into WrestleMania season, but soon, I think.
It wasn't a great match, you alluded to.
No.
Nakamura, since his introduction with Sami, I don't think he's had the bangers that we've seen before him.
Again, this comes back to the just general kind of feeling of disappointment, like that he hasn't.
I remember how excited I was. There's a video of me somewhere on the internet of holding a Nakamura and AJ Styles figure as they're going head to head at WrestleMania 34, and I don't know who to shout for. Right? I was very drunk at the time. Thankfully, I don't drink anymore. But
you used to be excited.
Yeah, but that was a terrible match. And then they had a ball kicking competition.
Yeah, it wasn't a terrible fucking match.
It just wasn't a good one.
It wasn't.
In comparison,
it wasn't your fucking Wrestle Kingdom 5 stars match. No,
7 stars.
It had a disappointing finish. It was not a bad match. There are way, way, way worse. Like, I don't even think that's going to make it into the top 10 of worst WWE title matches at fucking WrestleMania.
Most of them are going to be Triple H. Nakamura, delighted to see him win a title.
Look,
hopefully
he kicked fucking LA Knight's ass. It was a really strong statement. I think it's that alone, and the build leading up to it, which was also really strong, is actually enough right now to rehabilitate him. How they work his character going forward, I don't know, but if they're going to treat him as their kind of new modern day version of the Great Muta, it's a fantastic role for him. He beat Muta in Muta's retirement match. I think that and particularly if they're going to be working with Noah going forward as well.
I'd like
good bit of business.
I'd like to see him black mist the US title, so it just has that kind of like like a cooler version of what Jack Perry was trying to do.
Yeah, it would naturally be way cooler because it's Shinsuke Nakamura who is
the coolest dude,
the coolest fucking dude. Like he's
plus you're going to get a women's US title also, so it would help distinguish the US titles.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see. This is Nakamura's first title run since his NXT runs, where he's like it's his first.
He had the Intercontinental title, but like,
he did.
The mid-card titles didn't mean anything.
And he had long runs. He's a 2-time Intercontinental, 2-time US champion already. Like he's got great accolades, but none of those runs were particularly memorable. And I think, as I said, like Triple H doesn't have a lot of time left with him. Give Nakamura the run that he deserves, that he's fucking enthusiastic about himself and is engaged by, and then use that to build up a couple of younger guys with him.
And then let him go surf when he's done.
Go surf.
Just let him off. And
yeah.
Go surf. Best match, I think, on the card is the Intercontinental title match. That's the next one.
Yeah,
you had Ludwig Kaiser, Sheamus, and Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
I want to say Braun Steiner.
I want to say Braun Steiner because that is objectively the fucking name this man should be called.
Why isn't he?
What's his name? What's his actual name?
Braun Rickensteiner.
Braun Rechsteiner. But you're going like, oh yeah, he's a Steiner.
Rechsteiner is a cool name.
Rechsteiner is pretty cool, but like, there's a reason Rick and Scott probably shortened it themselves.
Yeah.
But Braun Steiner, And you look at this guy with all his Steinerizing, his Steiner mat, his fucking college gym gear.
Dude, the name isn't even the Frankensteiner. It's the Frankenbreaker, they call it now. You're like, now you're just taking the piss.
Is he doing anything different?
No, he's doing the...
Does he spike his opponent or anything?
I don't think so.
Bit of a Poison Rana job.
Maybe
no?
sometimes he misses getting up onto the top rope when he's jumping, but that man is a freak.
He's a freak. They're booking him so well, I think. And I love that they've leaned into the tweener aspect of it. I love that they've gone... He's not like... People were kind of complaining there... after his match when he lost it to Jay, and then when he bet the fuck out of Jay next week, people are like, oh, he turned face and now he's turned heel, and you're like, no, this is actually just...
This is what Morrow says.
They're making him both.
This is what Morrow says
really
about
well.
AEW stuff, is like, I was giving out about Swerve because when he won the title, he was like a heel, but then he became a face, but then he was going up against Danielson and he was a heel, and then he was going up against Hangman and he was a face, and he was like, but Shane... He hasn't changed. It's the fans' perception of him that's changed.
Exactly. I don't say, like, you can tell when it's flip-flop booking and it's badly plotted out, but when a guy is like, sometimes you like him and sometimes he's an absolute piece of shit.
Yeah, but like,
that's great.
Yeah, like the whole Daniel... I'm not getting into it. I'll argue with Morrow on WhatsApp. But the match was great. Like, why is it about Shane? He's just getting better with age, man.
The payoff to this surely has to be him winning the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
At
WrestleMania.
It has to be.
Yeah.
He deserves it. They've actually been building that, and it's exactly the story.
Done it for years.
The dude is like, again, Sheamus is another guy who, you've got limited fucking time possibly to get like a lot of mileage.
He's 15 years in WWE.
Yeah,
like in on TV.
Yeah,
that is.
But he's also like, conversely, much like Randy Orton say, like Sheamus is an older veteran guy who's kind of won it all, but for whatever reason, in the post Vince era, is somehow the best he's been and more over than he was ever at any other point. Both those guys have benefited just by existing through the Vince regime, the Vince shit that they did. They're these beloved veterans now, and I think Sheamus is really wearing that role so well.
Sheamus won those titles in like 2015. He won those two titles
when he had the mohawk and he won Money in the Bank.
Oh, he sucked so hard. Like,
but that was 2015. That's like, hey guys,
I know it's nearly 10 years ago. Jesus,
this is like, that was the time where they're obviously so desperate. Like the Sheamus experiments that they tried and the way they tried to present him, it failed in 2009. And then 6 years...
That's because he won the title by someone falling off.
And then he had a full babyface fucking run.
I like this 2011 run with like Big Show and Mark Henry and stuff on SmackDown.
Some good stuff, but like...
Daniel Bryan.
By 2015, he should not have been in that spot. That should have just been, hey, we're going to try someone new.
I remember when he won it, I was like, wait, what? Just like the first time he won it.
Yeah, it was just, again, Vince Bryan booking. But look, he's in the veteran spot now. He's had some fantastic matches over the last 2 years. He's really... I think he really helped elevate Pete Dunne. Their feud was really good.
I would have liked to see Pete Dunne interfere in this for some reason.
I just like that as like, because I was looking at that feud kind of going, this is like the modern day version of like Regal and Finlay. Let's do like, just like a good solid. We don't get many of them in mainstream wrestling where you like particularly as Irish people, it's like that is vicariously play into the feud of like an Englishman against an Irishman. Yeah, like and
you might get that with Wade Barrett and Drew McIntyre, but that won't be predicated on the England versus Scotland thing. Apparently, there's talks of Wade Barrett coming back.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be a cool spot for him. And they've already kind of set up that feud with Drew.
Ludwig Kaiser is amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's talking of Sheamus going up against like his European counterparts. Kaiser is brilliant. It's great that they have him in the Intercontinental mix now. He's winning at some point. He really reminds me of like pre-DX Triple H.
Oh, Blue Blood.
In a good way. The more Blue Blood version of it.
Do you think Sheamus takes it off Kaiser then at Mania if Kaiser beats Braun Breaker?
I think that would be the ideal storyline because I think you would give Ludwig a singles run. I think he'd be a great snide heel Intercontinental champion. Braun is on his second reign. I don't know where you're going to put Braun at WrestleMania, but like, I think once...
Battle of the Bronze. Him and Braun Strowman.
Once his Intercontinental...
And Bronson Reed. Triple Braun off.
Yeah.
There you go.
Great. Yeah, well, you got it booked. Yeah, I do think like that Braun is probably going to be going to the heavyweight scene sooner rather than later. And I'm excited to see what he does there. Like, he's definitely an Intercontinental. Like, it could be Braun and Sheamus again at WrestleMania. Maybe they want to give it'll be Braun's first WrestleMania. So they want to give him a good kind of marquee match. Maybe dropping the title to Sheamus wouldn't do any fucking harm there.
He's a freak. Like that shoulder tackle on Kaiser.
I was looking at stuff and I was like, even like you'd have a better idea for me as a professional wrestler, but like, how do you fucking fall for someone that's coming at you that quick? I mean, obviously he's going to truck through you.
Just take the bump, but it's going to hurt. Like, a lot of time when I'm watching wrestling,
looks vicious. I'm like, there's no control there. It's like
lot of the that's another thing, is that they're masters at controlling their body. But there's a lot of stuff that I look at, and it doesn't look impactful when you're just watching it. But from being in the ring, I'm like, motherfucker, like that would hurt like hell.
Snapmared all over the place.
Yeah, but like some of the like if you think about, right, Bronson Reed diving off a cage through a table. Now, I haven't done that in wrestling training, but like, you actually think about that. He's standing up on top of a cage at 300 pounds, and like, he physically just knew he was going to jump off and not hit anything.
Now he's fucked his foot up and he's out. Much like Adam Copeland before him. Like,
stop diving off cages. Io Sky is the only person that's allowed.
Io Sky, she could do with a fucking bin over her head. There's not one man who could just drop on a lad from a cage.
Yeah.
Without breaking his fucking...
Remember Cody did it and on Wardlow? Fucking missed him.
Maybe moonsaults are easier, actually. Like, maybe there's something about them.
Don't double axe handle and land on your legs, Macho Man.
That's what finished off Randy Savage's career ultimately, yeah.
That was fucking terrible. Like, why would you do that?
And Kurt Angle at his like peak Perk Angle was moonsaulting off cages in TNA in front of fucking 20 people.
Till the cows come home.
Yeah, like...
Or, do you remember Rikishi did one at Fully Loaded against Val Venus? He splashed him.
Yeah, man, he did.
Off the top of the cage. Mad bastard.
Mad bastards.
So is Sheamus getting whacked with the shillelagh.
Whacked with the shillelagh, yeah. And I love that the shillelagh was properly reintroduced as a
weapon.
As a weapon. Like, if you ever get a whack of a shillelagh, and believe me, I have.
No, who's wacky do with shillelaghs?
Oh, fuck, you don't even know.
Too many
Getting on the wrong side of so many little people. But they do fucking hurt. Like, I mean, it's a blackthorn stick, and it should fucking hurt. And I thought Kaiser made it look vicious.
Yeah,
it's great that you finally saw Sheamus getting beaten with a weapon.
He looks great when he
created.
He looks great when he gets beaten, because like it's the same with Jay and OTT. Like, you can see because they're like the pale skin, you can see every red mark.
Yeah,
every like even weird piece of skin pigmentation, because the blood is coming to that area.
I mean, that was one of the joys of seeing Sheamus go against Gunther, like, because those chops skin, like fucking hell, meat grinder. Yeah, good match. I don't know where everything's building, but I do like, we're in December now, right? So like, WrestleMania is 4 months away. I'm not into prediction mode.
Netflix is a month away,
but I do feel that there's enough juice in potentially in Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser. Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser, that you could carry that into WrestleMania. Because you had the whole
Gunther connection there with Sheamus and Gunther as well. Like,
I know there's a lot to be said there. Like, so I feel like the Intercontinental scene, maybe it's a premature prediction, but I feel like the Intercontinental scene at WrestleMania should probably be Sheamus.
Has to be.
I don't know if it has to be, because there could potentially be a lot of other, like, this guy finally won this title. Like, for example, Cena's like,
he never won the Intercontinental.
Record breaking. No, Cena never won it, but he did more than anyone in that company to elevate the US title.
I've seen someone going, I don't want to see Cena come in and elevate guys. I want to see Cena in an orange t-shirt come out and bury every single person and just go full Super Cena mode. And like, everybody that was getting over, Gunther pinned.
Oh.
Damien Priest pinned.
Like, if you've watched the main event of SummerSlam 2010, where you just saw
Nexus,
where you had like a summer of hope, much like the summer that followed it as well.
They always give you that little spark of hope.
Yeah, in the summer, it was like, the Nexus one summer, then was Summer of Punk, the summer.
Yeah, the Wyatts one summer.
You did, yeah, that in 2013, and then like all roads of excitement just lead to a big old Cena squash, and then it's done.
Cena took DDT onto concrete and then came in and beat Justin Gabriel and Wade Barrett.
And won that match. And the Nexus, who were the hottest faction, genuinely, the hottest faction that had emerged in wrestling since the NWO.
Jericho and Edge had to be like, stop doing this.
Just gone. An angle that you could have milked for a year, dead.
Gone. Because of Super Cena.
Yeah.
And then he beats him at Survivor Series, was it? Or no, Wade Barrett beat
He
him.
lost
And
the
then
match where he had to join
the
them.
Nexus.
That was bullshit. It was,
him and David
it was
Otunga.
a mess at this point.
Anyway, great match, Intercontinental title match, best match of the night in my opinion. Gunther and Damien Priest really liked the build to this.
They really dug in on the build and really
You might
tried
be
to,
a general, but I'm the king of the streets.
It was good, and again, smart booking. I like the fact that, look, it wasn't the most exciting thing because we've seen it quite a bit. It was just done at SummerSlam, but actually, like, they had a really good storyline reason to do it. I love the fact that, like, and I think it's a good statement of intent for Triple H as well, is that, you know, Priest won the world title. Maybe wasn't necessarily considered a main event guy. Had a decent run. It's, you know, not a total cast iron main eventer at this point yet. Still getting there, but I like the fact that they've kept him in the world title mix just in case. It, like, doesn't feel like
I wasn't
it doesn't
happy
feel like
when
he's lost his goal.
Yeah, I think he's got better since he's lost the title. I didn't particularly like it when he won the Fatal 4-Way, but that's because I wanted to see something new. I find a lot of the time Triple H re-threads old ground. He did it with AJ when AJ and Cody went up against each other, and then you had Logan Paul in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So, and then it seemed like, oh, he's going, what's his next feud? Oh, it's AJ again. Same with kind of Kevin Owens and Cody as well. They've kind of like had they went their separate ways and then came back to it. You know, which makes sense, I suppose. Like, people are always going to have these problems.
It's good for consistency, but it does give you that feeling sometimes, and as happened here when Finn Balor came out, where you're going, oh, this feud definitely isn't over, actually.
Well, that's what I said to Morrow, if you're listening. Ha! He was complaining about the finish to Damien Priest and Finn Balor.
Yeah.
He was giving out about, oh, I had no heat, all that. And I was like, the story isn't done, man. Finn said, I will see you down the road.
Yeah, I was just...
now it's used to hot up Finn.
It really has. Finn is, he's main event in Saturday night's main event against Gunther. Probably not going to win, but like...
He's probably not going to main event. It's going to be Cody and Kevin Owens.
Forgot about that. Yeah, it's not going to main event, but it's a main event.
And Damien's going to come out, and I'm looking forward to that. It seems like Triple H is going to enjoy bringing the hit. Like, remember those Raw anniversaries that were like half-assed?
Yeah, you get some cool shit, but like not as much as you'd like. And it's all too jokey. It was like, hey, we've got like, there's 40 people in the back. Here's IRS and Jimmy Hart and Kamala, and they're all just dancing.
And someone's going to get a cake in their face.
And someone's definitely getting a cake.
Yeah. And they're all going to get their shtick in. And at the end, Ron Simmons is going to come along and go, damn. And that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's 25 years of Raw.
Rinse, repeat. But whereas now, I think, you know, looking at distinct events, it's NBC, it's Saturday night's main event. Like
have the old music.
You know, people who were born before the 2000s won't necessarily remember how like big Saturday night's main event was. I certainly, when I became a fan as a child, like it was probably in its dying days at the time. They brought it back in 2006 for a not terrible run,
I didn't
but
like
it wasn't. It was nowhere near
I didn't
as
like
good.
it because I was excited by it, and then when I remember watching it, I had missed school and had it taped from the night before. Went up to my mate's house and going, "This is going to be class Saturday night main event." They're like, "What the fuck is that?" And then we watched it, and they were like, "What the fuck was that?"
What the fuck was that? Well, look. They're going all in. The card is already really good for it. Like NBC, they're leaning into the old style presentation. Yeah, I'm all on board.
The match in itself, they're leaning into the whole Gunther doubting himself, going up against
I thought it was really effective. Those guys have really good. Like, I'm never like, oh, I can't wait to see these two guys together. But anytime I watched them having a match, they're always really well constructed, always really logical. They've got actually like low key fucking really good chemistry.
You know, it's Gunther as well. Like,
it's also Gunther.
It's what I find fascinating is looking back on old pictures of those when they used to wrestle. Like Gunther was like very heavy and had green hair, and then you see the old Damien Priest, and you're like, oh god, he was kind of heavy too, and it just gives me hope.
He's not a big muscle guy, but I mean, like, look, the two of them are in
phenomenal
great
shape,
nick, without necessarily needing to be big muscle guys. They're big dudes who can work exceptionally well. I think Priest is really, once he doesn't get too fucking cheesy, but like, he's really finding his feet as a face, I think. I think his general kind of banter and patter since he's not been like, since he's stopped being the angry guy in Judgment Day, which by the way he was fucking great at being, and he was great at being like the straight man effectively, but now he's got like, it's a more cocksure, it's leaning into like the kind of swagger he had in NXT a little bit. And I think that's a good steer for his character. You don't need the bows and arrows, but like
I love the way Gunther kicks Finn. He's kind of like, fuck you. Now there's still going to be doubt over my win. I like that is, you're like, yes.
I thought that was great. Again, this idea that all heels are friends and all faces are friends is so fucking passé, and I'm glad that
Beautiful.
we get things to be mixed up a little bit. Like, I don't think the ending was ever in doubt, but I thought it was a really.
Who's Gunther's next opponent? It's going to be Finn. Then is that
going to be Finn?
Is this a story that can go all the way to WrestleMania 3-way?
No. Here's my take. I think Gunther's got Finn next. I think after that we're going to get Gunther Goldberg.
Oh yeah, that'd be class.
I'm predicting
it won't be, but
he said it. Everyone, he said it. Gunther Goldberg, class.
It is class. That's the immediate reaction. I want to see Goldberg get chopped, just like when Randy Orton went up against Gunther. I was like, Orton's going to get fucking chopped.
I feel that here's what I think. Here's how I book it. And I'd love to do it. I'd love for Triple H as a smart wrestling booker, which he mostly seems to be, to lean into one of the most beloved Vince McMahon tropes, which is, oh my God, it's WrestleMania season, the veteran shows up, and in Vince's time, the veteran would always win everything and take everything. And I would love to see that parlayed into Goldberg's return. And then, as I said before, Goldberg getting fucking nightfalled. Broken.
Goldberg getting Goldberg.
Like fucking, take a leaf out of AEW's book and fucking red wedding Goldberg the way that Bryan Danielson got red wedding to AEW. But I think it would be cool. And then I think Gunther, my feeling is still that it's going to be Gunther and Cena.
Yeah.
I would have Gunther go. Like, I probably.
Does Cena win the Rumble?
I feel like he's gonna. Yeah,
I'd like Punk to win the Rumble.
I can't think of any title feud that you'd. Do you think it's Punk Gunther is
Punk and Cody?
Punk and Cody be good. I think we're getting Cody Randy.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think the last two people in the Rumble are going to be Cena and Orton.
Oh, that'd be terrible. I hate.
I would always say that as terrible, but this is the first time where I'm like, this actually logically makes sense.
Everyone's psyched for Cena. I am not psyched for Cena.
I'm kind of psyched for Cena. I don't want to see another Cena Orton match, but I think them being the last two in the Royal Rumble would be cool as fuck.
No, first two maybe, and then both get thrown out.
Why not both, Shane? Why not first and last?
Yeah, and then Lesnar comes out third and throws him out.
Oh man, I don't think we're getting Brock back. In fairness, if he was trucking through fucking Goldberg, it would be good. Like Gunther Brock would be great at some point.
Okay, let's get on to the WarGames match.
Let the WarGames begin.
Well, yeah,
almost, Shane. Yes,
almost. As you were saying, faces don't always get on with faces. Heels don't always get on with heels. That's big in the CM Punk Roman Reigns angle.
Roman Reigns and CM Punk doing their most fucking Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau odd couple, fucking two of them just throwing shapes, throwing their eyes to heaven, looking at each other in the cage. I was like,
this guy.
I was like, oh yeah, they're going full fucking step-toe son here with these two, and I fucking love it. I
love when Punk comes out and just fucking pushes Bronson Reed in the face.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah,
straight off the bat. Bronson Reed, well, segueing already, but Bronson Reed was such a fantastic addition to the new bloodline.
Yeah, he looks like he's because like he's from New Zealand.
Like, he's Australian Samoan.
New Zealand, isn't he?
No, he's Australian.
Is he Australian? I thought he was New Zealand.
Yeah. So he has Samoan blood. He's obviously not related into the family, but they're very good at like co-opting like the Samoan brotherhood. He fits in perfectly. He was great.
I thought CM Punk fit perfectly into the story. I would like to highlight. I called it. I said I did call it. I just want to highlight it. I called it. I said his connection with Paul Heyman and the fact that he doesn't have history really with the bloodline. He's the perfect candidate because he wasn't doing anything.
I will say that my prediction was that it was going to be The Rock, and that on the other team was going to be fucking Hikuleo.
Yeah,
so I was completely wrong.
Bronson Reed I didn't call, and then everyone thought, oh, it's going to be Rollins.
He made so much sense.
But the fact that CM Punk and Rollins were feuding, and Rollins wouldn't get into the WarGames, and Punk did, will only further.
Again, it's just like the storytelling in WWE, and I know I say this a lot because I spent fucking 30 years of my life not saying this, but the storytelling has been fantastic. The fact that they could spend 3 weeks doing a tease of Seth Rollins joining that team, for him to actually not join that team, brilliant. I just thought, and without us as fans feeling robbed, because we don't feel robbed, and then they've used the fact that he didn't join the team and they've parlayed that into juicing up so many fucking storylines. If you saw Raw just gone on Monday night, like Rollins' decisions had ramifications,
and that's what
they're building on it. It's great,
and I like the fact that even the new bloodline came out together, and then they were harping on about how everyone else had their separate entrances on, like Jay Uso coming out on his own. after Punk and Reigns, and you're like, oh,
that was a lovely bit of positioning, wasn't it?
You're just so looking at it,
refreshing to see it going, oh my god, yeah, neither of those guys needs to be last. And it kind of reminded me of, it was like, you see certain like 1970s and 1980s movies, when like the two top stars have had like a disagreement. It's like if you see the poster for the Tower in Inferno, and it's like, I think it's like Steve McQueen's name first, then it's Paul Newman's name after, but like slightly higher. Where they do that thing?
Yeah.
Where like
the egos.
And it's egos, and it is, and it's like, well, if you're going first, that says you're the star, but if I go higher, I'm second, but I'm higher.
Yeah.
And it's all this perception thing. So I would imagine that like that could have been a conversation backstage. Who goes out last between Reigns and Punk? And genuinely, neither of those guys probably would have wanted to fold on that.
Yeah.
And
Jay was just
even if that wasn't a decision and both guys were like, give it to Jay, it still made sense that it was Jay, outside of any potential politics.
I love Tama Tonga in the cage at the start.
Guy's getting over.
He's just crawling around the cage.
He's had a great year. He's been a great addition. You don't normally get to see guys who are kind of like veteran outside WWE guys who are certainly not main eventers like an AJ Styles, say.
Yeah.
But like guys who've, he's been working steadily in New Japan and...
But AJ wasn't a main... Well, no, I get what you mean. He was a main eventer in other companies.
Tama Tonga was never like a main eventer in fucking New Japan or anything, like, but he was a very integral part of the company for a long time.
Gorillas of Destiny were very well derided though for a long time.
Oh yeah.
They were a big tag team, but like, they were derided going, oh, fucking Gorillas of Destiny.
Yeah. And I think he jumped, like...
He got ripped.
Great shape. Like, he picked the right time. The guy just turned 40. It's his first ever WWE run. He came in as a new utility player in the new bloodline. He's already plugged into a hot storyline. I thought he's excelled. I think the visual of him crawling across the cage to begin with was fucking fantastic. I think he's potentially going to get very over next year, and I think he could be a strong breakout star out of the new bloodline.
Well,
definitely
not Tongaloa.
He won't break many places, but I kind of like him. I think people, the internet wrestling community seems to have a soft spot for him because he's like, he fucks up a lot. And even when he was pulling the tables out first and he wasn't getting them into the into the WarGame structure, he's like, oh, he's gonna botch. But it's nice to have that feeling about a wrestler. I've missed it since Sin Cara went away.
Oh yeah, poor little Sin Mystico.
You'd be watching him going, please lad, don't botch. But you'd kind of be going, how's he going to
botch?
How bad is he going to botch?
It can become part of your gimmick.
Yeah.
I won't lie. Okay, so
don't lie.
I won't lie. I never lie.
Treat this like confession, Shane.
I will. Sorry, Father, I have sinned.
It's been how long since your last confession?
This is a long time.
This is getting a bit weird and role play
now. I fell asleep during this match.
You need to say so many fucking prayers to repent.
Yeah,
for this
to the wrestling gods.
Flagrant disrespect
Dan
of
O'Mahony,
WarGames,
the inventor of the Irish Whip. No, I fell asleep right at the start. Like the bell rang, and then I woke up when the bell rang, and it was like, and WarGames begins. And I was like, what the? Like the actual, all five of them were in the ring.
I'm sure there's only about 5 minutes left in the match at that point.
They were good. Like the five were on that side and the five were on this side or whatever, and they do the whole. Did they do the charge? I can't remember.
They lined up, yeah.
I woke up for that, so I was still a bit sleepy.
I mean, the majority of what you missed was mostly, I was like, what, logically I think should have been done. It was a very methodical beatdown of the OG bloodline.
I went back and looked at it. I thought Jimmy did very well in the match.
I will say that Jimmy Uso was the MVP of that match.
Yeah.
He had working boots on. I have not seen that man have working boots on in a long time. He was fucking brilliant. He really was, like... and I think he's been so reinvigorated by his return, his new role.
He needed it, man. It was so...
I don't think he was comfortable playing a heel, but now he's going, okay, I can be a different type of face. Do
you have any problem with like him and Jimmy, or him and Jay after their big feud at WrestleMania 40 and they're getting speared off stages and they had that terrible match, but like the whole Cody thing and Jay, and now they're fine again. There's talks of the Usos getting back. Like that will always happen in wrestling, but so soon. Again,
I also think it's just the joy of good booking, because they booked a logical story for them to fight at WrestleMania. Look, the feud, it's not going to be feud of the year for the year, but it was serviceable. It got them what they wanted, which was like a one-on-one match. The match was probably the most disappointing in WrestleMania, but the storyline served to exist it, and also it didn't do that thing that WWE used to do, where they create this kind of not logical, irrational, exceptionally deep-seated hatred between these two siblings out of nowhere, and
Like
then,
Matt and Jeff.
And then it makes it even, or like, fucking...
I'd burn your house down and killing your dog.
Yeah, and Nikki Bella going to Brie, like, I wish you died in the womb.
I wish you were aborted.
So like, Jimmy and Jay didn't have that, like, enmity with each other. Like, you know what I mean? It was like two brothers who fundamentally disagreed and have come to scraps now, and there's a rift. And I think because of the nature of that feud and how efficiently they told it, at least, that, like, it wasn't that much of a leap of faith to be like, because we know how much they love each other. We know how long they've been together. Yeah. They're the most decorated tag team in WWE history, probably. Well, not like within. I think Usos edge it a bit, don't they?
I don't know.
Overall, it's the Dudleys, but I mean within WWE, like,
I'm a Dudley boy.
Big Shane Dudley.
Big Shane Dudley. Yeah, that'd be a good gimmick, actually.
Beef Dudley.
Yeah, I'll take it. Bubba, adopt me.
I just like to be just John Dudley.
Yeah, that would go more.
Just right now. No, just
Martin Dudley.
Yeah, Grant. I just
Dudley
want
Martis.
a pair of glasses and I don't want to do anything.
I really like, as you were saying, the odd couple thing where like Reigns is stopping CM Punk from entering the WarGames, and it's telling Sammy to go. That's a nice callback to like previous WarGames. I remember when one of the Usos were going out. One of the Usos, and they blocked him and told Sammy to go out to prove himself. I don't know what, 2 WarGames ago, but just really nice storytelling. I enjoyed the match when I looked back on it, even though I knew the result. Bronson Reed's a fucking madman. Jimmy, not so much a mad. Like, seeing him hit the splash, it was like cool. But,
he looked nervous.
Yeah.
But he nailed it. It looked great.
The tables broke really weirdly, didn't they? They broke in like 3.
I don't know. Maybe just it was a guarantee. Maybe they took the sawtooth.
You know the way the tables normally just break in 2 and it goes like that. Yeah. These tables seem to break in 3.
It looked much better. Like it looked like proper car crash stuff. Like
more carnage.
Yeah.
And then the finish. Roman still gives Solo the chance to repent.
It's just great. So, like, even
this.
like Punk pulling Reigns off the table so he doesn't get scored. It was fucking brilliant. Like, Bronson Reed looked like a beast. Even the guys who lost, like Jacob Fatu, who, again, I thought he'd fucked up his leg, he was just masterfully storytelling.
Just
pretending. I think apparently he botched and then sold the botch as an injury, which is a comment. Like, Damien Priest did a great job of that during the summer as well. It's a really smart move.
When he got caught in the ropes.
Again, Neo kayfabe, I was like, both instances, I'm going, is this for real or is this like, I don't have a fucking clue. How, like, is he working the match injured? Jacob did a great job of that. Jacob, again, was fantastic. And, again, well protected, even in defeat, even in taking a few finishers and a few digs here and there. They've done a really good job of preserving that guy.
I love you, Solo.
Yeah,
class.
That's going to get real over. I think, despite it was a comprehensive victory, but I don't think that the new bloodline lost anything from it, because it was just a cracker match. They equate him. Solo has been so good. He's obviously, somebody's been working with him or somebody's been chatting to him, but he's brought so much. I think it took him a while to realise that, like, the silent, stoic enforcer character
that doesn't need to wear red jackets,
that loves a good red and black dinner jacket, but that character could not be his character when he became the leader. And I think for the first couple of months he was just playing that character, and now he's playing a little bit more of a kind of cocksure, like, argumentative, mocking, disdainful, just more animated version of a character. And he does seem a little bit more like a kind of, like a gang boss who's lost a run of himself.
He needed to take the pin, do you think?
Yeah,
of everyone.
Yeah, and I don't think he loses anything by taking it. He also got hit by literally everyone's finished.
And did you like the way kind of Punk looked at Reigns before the GTS, and Reigns is like,
do it. Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that he offered him a chance to repent. Like, he did. Tried to hug him.
And I really do love that. It's great character work from Solo, but where Solo's been constantly going, like, Solo's looking at them guys now and he's going like, how do you not see that this is the way it should be? And I think he genuinely feels the hurt for that he's not with his brothers and with his cousin, and he's trying to get them on board with him, but they're just not having it. So, like, his kind of internal heel logic, I can completely see it. And he keeps always telling them, I love that about, it's a really nice little character detail about the new bloodline versus the old bloodline. Like, the old bloodline, the whole hallmark of them is how, like, emotionally repressed they were, and the fact that, Reigns is dealing with so much trauma of betrayal, and that's why he kind of abuses and subjugates his family members. Whereas, like, Solo and Jacob and all the rest of the boys are like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. These are like
positive affirmations.
Even for heels, there's like, it's constant positive affirmations with them. They're telling each other how much they love each other. Like, Solo's telling Roman and the lads, he's like, I love love you guys. I'll forgive you. Come back on board. Like, those differences in the character touches are so wonderful. And I think it's really...
Why are these guys the heels? Well, they bet the shit out of Paul Heyman, to be fair.
They put Paul Heyman through a table. Yeah,
and you can't do that, like.
But again, it's like it's dealing with lovely moral grey areas on both the heel side and the face side, and I think that's what created such a rich and it's compelling match.
And it's creating, like, what's the favour now that Paul owes Punk?
What's the favour that Paul owes? How's Big Dwayne going to fit into things here now?
I don't like the way Dwayne came back at Bad Blood, just to be like, I'm still here, and then fucked off.
Yeah.
Like, you know, without any... Like, it just seemed like he was in town, so came out, and then left.
I don't know.
There was no follow-up on it. I thought it was going to be a Survivor Series follow-up.
Apparently he's very busy. He's always busy.
Smash Machine, the Mark Kerr story. The pay-per-view in itself didn't get great plaudits from people.
I really do think he's just exhausted the 4-match fucking card. Like, I think just give us 1 or 2 more matches.
Yeah, I had my phone on me where people sent in their thoughts on the
you
the
don't
pay-per-view.
have it now, and I certainly don't have it.
No. Alan Maher said he liked the Intercontinental title match, but generally the overall consensus was it was slow and plodding. Hopefully this podcast wasn't slow and plodding for you. I've enjoyed speaking with you.
Yeah, I've enjoyed revisiting the pay-per-view that I watched only 3 days ago.
3 days ago. I only rewatched it like today.
Great. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go and rewatch it. Thanks very much for listening. We've been the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show. Like, subscribe, buy some merch. CM Pork t-shirts for sale on Redbubble. Stay safe, stay sane.